Good morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officers meeting for November 1st, 2017. My name is Laura Stotler and I'll be serving as Planning Hearing Officer today. We have one case and the relevant exhibits are posted on the panels located directly behind me. The agenda, staff reports, and recommendations for today's case can be found on the city's website, and a copy of the hearing procedures as well as the agenda report are located right by our door. Under the provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.43 of the Glendale Municipal Code, a variance shall be granted if 4 required findings are present. And those 4 required findings are discussed in the staff report. They're well outlined, as well as the staff's recommendation. If the evidence presented in the application and at the hearing today meets the criteria, then the planning hearing officer can either approve or impose conditions for approval on the case in question. If the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. And the notice was also posted on the city's website. Hearings will proceed as follows. I'll read a description of the requested entitlement. The case planner will then make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will then be asked to come forward, stating both name and address, and will have a 15-minute time limit to present their case. Others in support of or in opposition to the application and any other interested parties will then be asked to come forward to speak, stating both name and address, and they will have a 3-minute time limit. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments if desired in response to any of the testimonies given by preceding speakers, and during rebuttal they will have a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will be closed and the case taken under submission. After the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicants and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this meeting or people who have submitted written comments. The date on the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. However, if a decision is made at this meeting, the decision date will be today's date, and a 15-day appeal period, these are calendar days, will start today. Under the appeals provision of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures from the Permit Services Center located in room 101 of this building. So if there's anybody else here who wishes to speak who has not already submitted a speaker's request form, please do so. And I would also like to inform everyone that the official proceedings of this hearing are being recorded as part of the public record. So for the first case, we have a variance case PVAR 1718831 located at 3455 Downing Avenue. The applicant is Mike Garagos. This is an application for a variance to allow the construction of a new 1,066 square foot second-story addition with an overall height of 28 feet, while maintaining the existing 3-foot 4-inch interior setback along the south side of the property, where the code requires a 5-foot setback. This is a 6,500 square foot lot located at 3455 Downing Avenue in the R1 Low Density Residential Floor Area District 2 zone. This project is exempt from environmental review as Class 1 existing facility pursuant to Section 15301 of the State of California Secret Guidelines, because the proposed addition to the existing house will not result in an increase of more than 10,000 square feet, and the project is in an area where all public services and facilities are available, and it's not located in an environmentally sensitive area. So with that, I'd like to ask the case planner to provide an overview of the case.
Thank you, Ms. Stotler. As you stated, the project is located at 3455 Downing Avenue, located in the R1 Low Density Residential Zone Floor Area Ratio District 2. The property is currently developed with a 1-story single-family house and a detached garage that was constructed in 1945. The lot is 6,500 square feet in size, gently sloping terrain from north to south at the front. However, the house is situated on a relatively flat, level surface of the lot. And the rectangular shape regular lot is approximately 50 feet linear frontage facing Downing Avenue and then 130 feet in depth. As far as their request, which is for the variance to add a new second-story addition, which will increase the height of the existing house from 18 feet to 28 feet, which would trigger compliance with the interior setbacks. Currently, the interior setback along the south side is 3 feet 4 inches. The requirement upon increasing the height of the building between 20 and 30 feet is 5 feet. That would be the requirement, and that's what they are not proposing for the existing. And as a result, they will maintain the existing, but the new addition will be set back to comply with the minimum 5-foot requirement. As a matter of fact, they're proposing 6 feet 5 inches from the south property line to that new second story, which again complies with the required 5-foot interior setback. Because the ground floor will maintain that 3 foot 4 inch setback along the south side, they are proposing a variance request to deviate from that requirement. But as far as all the other zoning requirements, including floor area ratio, lot coverage, height, landscaping, parking requirements, they're all being complied with. Staff is recommending approval of the request, and the required findings are included in the staff report, along with suggested conditions. If you have any questions for staff, if you'd like me to go over the findings, I can do so. But with that, I will conclude my remarks.
Okay, thank you. I think that the findings, if you take a look at the staff report, are well outlined. So then let's call forward now the applicant if you'd like to go over those and explain his project. Mr. Garagos, please. I know what that was. I forgot to turn on the mic.
Good morning, Mike Garagos, 2155 Verdugo, number 614, Montrose, 91020. Good morning. It's great to be here. We have what I think is a sensitive project in a really great neighborhood. The Hartings have been in the home there for a while. They have a young daughter that would like to stay in the area and develop the property in order to meet their needs. There's some peculiarities about this neighborhood. As with any older neighborhoods, you have homes that have substandard setbacks. Glendale is really great in terms of cities in that they allow for varying interior setbacks for older homes. The one spot where it gets a little tricky is that a portion of the new building, is different from the existing portion, as opposed to letting sleeping dogs lie. That minor interior setback creates an issue with height. So we're not asking for the setback in terms of what we're doing on the second floor. It's really tangential to the height limit. We're adding additional setbacks. We're not trying to do a 5-foot side yard setback. We're actually going considerably more than that. We also try to alleviate some issues, privacy issues, in that the 3 bedrooms that are upstairs, there's 1 bedroom that's forward, 1 bedroom is north on the driveway side, which is a larger setback because of the driveway, and then the master bedroom is at the back. And those main windows for that bedroom are at the center of the addition. So again, trying to minimize the impact windows would have on the neighbor. We also, very early on, I wanted it to feel much more like, as much as possible, a single-story home. So we used the idea of a story and a half. So it very much appears from the front as being a single story with a large dormer at the front, but it has a massing from the streetscape as a single story with sort of a high roof. So that was an intention early on to try to minimize the impact of the second floor in that neighborhood. We're going with moderately colonial details, sort of a painted molding details, which is evocative of the existing home, and we think will be attractive as we go through design review. Quickly through the findings, I think we agree with them all. I think they were very well presented. The main reason for the variance is that it really is an undue hardship. When you look at the kitchen in that front room that's on that side, it's actually more of a hardship than even Milka and I had talked about before, because if you actually had to take that wall back and you took the roof off, we would be under 50%, which means that now we would have to have a 6-foot side yard. which would eat in almost 3 feet into rooms that are only 8 feet wide. So you imagine taking a galley kitchen and taking 3 feet off of it. Those 2 rooms are useless at that point. So the hardship is really onerous. It would be very difficult to even meet current code with the existing building. So, and then also the fact of that lower floor is existing. We're really not changing that. It's very much existing conditions. So overall, I think we're in agreement with the findings. I think they're as they're presented. I think they're fine. I don't need to get into them. I would be open for any questions you have. I think we tried to do something that was sensitive to the neighborhood, but still gave them the ability to stay in the neighborhood and have facility in order to raise the family and hopefully future kids. I'm not part of that, so just trying to make a facility opportunity for them.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
And you're okay with the conditions of approval?
Yes.
In the staff report? Okay.
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you. I'd like to call forward Diane Stevens, please. Hi.
My name is Diane Stevens, and I live at 3451 Downing Avenue, which is directly on the south side of the property that is applying for the variance. And I do have a zoning concern. I'm just asking that the existing code be adhered to. And I feel like when remodeling plans are created, why would they be made to violate a current code? And Glendale has, concerns with privacy, open space, natural light and ventilation, and a buffer between homes. And it is enforced for the well-being and protection of the residents. And it directly affects me. If this variance is granted, it will violate my rights, which the code now protects. The applicant should not be entitled to blatantly disregard this code, and I'm asking that, and I'm not asking for any special treatment, I'm just asking that simply that the code be withheld. Thanks.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
The way the code is written is that it would require an additional 1.5 feet to comply with the code, or perhaps 3 feet along the entire south portion of their property.
Correct.
Would that have more of an impact on you, or just leaving the setback leaving the house the way it is? If you just leave the first floor where it's at, versus having construction all along that piece in order for them to add a second floor.
Well, I mean, when you think about it,
because that's what the hardship is about.
well, the hardship is that, I mean, that their kitchen is right there, and so that they would have to cut into their kitchen. They'd probably have to redo their whole kitchen. But when somebody's putting 1,060 feet on their house, I mean, that's like redoing the whole house. So, I mean, I don't see why it's such a hardship, because they're redoing everything anyway. You know, just move back a little further. I mean, we're between, I have my driveway between us. Mm-hmm. On the other side of their house, they have two driveways, so that the people on the north side really aren't affected that much. I mean, our houses are just right up against each other. So I think the extra space makes a difference to me.
Okay.
So,
all right.
okay.
That's my question. All right. We have a 5-minute rebuttal. Mr. Geragos.
Mike Arrogas. I think I can understand her point. I think there is law that allows for this variance process, which is why we're here, and it requires public hearings, which is what we're having. I think the thing to keep in mind is that if this was built at 5 feet, the second floor, which would be more of the privacy issue, would be 1.5 feet closer to the side property line, which is what could be allowed. So it seems like, given that the existing wall is not changing, and we're proposing a wall that's 1.5 feet back from what the code would require, it seems like we're making a situation that would be better even if the code was applied. So I think we're proposing something that is better than code in a funny way. That would be memorable. And I would make a request that you just make your decision today if that's possible, but either way. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak? Have any other speakers? No? Not seeing none? I am going to take this matter then under submission. I'm now closing this public hearing, and I will be preparing my decision. I am now, there are no further items on this agenda, so this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for coming.